All right, we are live here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our FPL Under the Radar Game Week 34 preview video. I'm here with my buddy, FPL Wrangler. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Tell me about yourself. How was your week? I
It
know
was
it's
a good week. Yeah, finally, after a long time, it was a good week. So yeah, Captain Ronaldo brought him in place of Kane, and Kane and Son blanked in the first game of the game week. So yeah, overall it was a good week. I bench boosted as well. It didn't work out quite well, but overall I'm still happy. So almost half my rank. So cannot complain really. So yeah, how about you? How was your week?
it was okay. It could have been a way worse. Like the way it started, at least over the weekend, I had like only 11 or 12. Well, actually 13 points on
Hmm.
Sunday. So I was pretty much shattered, and I was expecting a very big red arrow. But eventually, the big teams return. Like I had Salah. I didn't have Ronaldo, although I
Hmm.
thought about it. But again, it's hindsight right now. But yeah, Salah, and I captained Saka, so the penalty was a lucky one. And all the back, right, the trend, then Cancelo and also Robertson, all of them had returned. So yeah, eventually it was a grey. So basically, I was 14.6k and went to 15k. So it was all right. I mean, I was actually happy because, as I said, it could have been way worse. So
Yeah, Saka's penalty was like in the last few minutes also,
yeah,
right? Your
and
captain.
also like it
So
was it was not really it's kind of like not even convincing as well. But again,
yeah,
on field call was there, so yeah,
yeah. I
I will
mean, yeah,
take it.
you take the luck if you get it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I mean I can complain, and I'm really happy. Yeah. So,
All right.
and I think
Okay.
ZD is not here today, but his week
Mm-hmm.
also, it's not bad. He had a green arrow. He had Ronaldo and Bruno both, but he captained Bruno, but he didn't have Salah, so that's why actually
Right.
it was not the first day was pretty good because he had Ronaldo.
Yeah, he was up to like 60K before Salah returned.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, unfortunately, he captained Bruno, so that's why
Mhm.
he didn't get that like Ronaldo captaincy point, and there was no Salah. So eventually, he had a green arrow. He's now around 85k or 84k each, but I think he
Mhm.
has bench boost and also free hit. So
Yeah, he played wildcard last week, so his team is in good shape for the
yeah,
next few weeks. So yeah, overall, yeah, he should be able to push for the next few
right,
weeks
and
easily.
he's traveling. You know, so I don't know. We'll see if he can join from overseas. Otherwise,
Hmm.
yeah, probably we'll see him next week, next season. So let's see.
Right. All right. So this is, of course, I mean, a small double game week. The only two teams who are doubling are Chelsea and Manchester United. So we are going to talk about the fixtures, and we'll make at least today's video is going to become kind of shorter. We'll basically talk about the fixtures, what's upcoming, what our thoughts are on the fixtures, and we'll just kind of discuss casually on our teams and what we are thinking about our teams for 34 and maybe a little bit beyond that as well. So let's get started with the fixtures first. So as I said, so this week 34 is a small double for Chelsea and Manchester United. 35 is a regular game week, so no double or anything, no blank, etc., etc. 36 is going to be a big double, as we all knew from a long time. 37 is also a decently big double. At least so far, I think six teams doubling in 37. The only game which is not for sure scheduled yet is Man City versus Wolves. So basically, if that goes to 36, Man City would double in 36. If that goes to 37, they will double in 37. And we should know that by tomorrow. So basically, in about 5 6 hours UK morning time, we should know that anyways. So at least Ben Krellin and a few others are hoping that we should pretty surely be knowing that before the 34 deadline. So we'll look out for that, of course, and that may change the cheap strategy a little bit for managers, a little bit here and there, where to play the bench boost or where to free hit, etc., etc. But at uh, kind of a 30,000 feet view, we kind of already know what's coming. The other game that's not on the official fixture list is the Liverpool versus Southampton game, but that's for sure going to go into the 37 midweek essentially. So that's where the FA Cup final is. So definitely that won't happen in the weekend, but that will go into the following midweek essentially. So that's also placed already right there. One thing, of course, and we'll discuss about this kind of in a little more detail, is the European fixtures, right? So there are still five teams, five EPL teams who are still in Europe: Man City, Liverpool, uh, sorry, four actually, not five. Man City, Liverpool, Leicester, and West Ham, right? And if you look at the fixtures, especially for Liverpool, so they play their game with 34 game on Sunday, and then they play Villarreal on Wednesday, and then Newcastle on Saturday, and oops, sorry, and then Villarreal again on Tuesday. So basically, four games within a span of 9 days. For Man City, it's a little better. They have the Madrid game 2 days after the Watford, but then they have a 3 day gap between the Leeds game on either side of the Madrid schedule in UCL, right? So their schedule is a little more spread out than Liverpool. So of course, that's kind of makes us a little worried about how much Liverpool would be rotating or kind of managing minutes of the major players in 34 and 35. Chelsea is also interesting. They double, of course, this game week was again West Ham and Manchester United. Their 35 game is just 2 days after Manchester United, and then they have a very decent gap before the Wolves game. But where it gets critical is their 36 double against Leeds, where they have the FA Cup final just 2 days after that game, right? And this is the only tournament that Chelsea have basically to play for, especially if their third or fourth place is guaranteed by then. That could be a big rotation week for Chelsea. Elsewhere, what's interesting is, of course, Leicester and West Ham's schedules. West Ham is in Europa, right? So Europa semifinal, and Leicester is in the Europa Conference League semifinal. So basically, they have their games kind of very tightly squeezed as well, especially if you look at 35. So there, for example, for Leicester's game against Tottenham is basically just 2 days before that they play Roma, and then the away leg is 3 days from there. So right between that, and same for West Ham. So their Arsenal game in 35 is squeezed between Frankfurt 2 days before and 3 days after. So again, that's also critical for especially planning for 35, which players you want to hold, or which players or which teams you want to target from an attacking or defensive perspective. So anyway, so that's basically the lay of the land at this moment. So a lot to kind of think about. A lot of people are wildcarding in 34. Some of the people who are wildcarding in 34 are also going to bench boost in 36 or 37, and some of them also have a free hit, right? Both of us also has our free hit to play, our second free hit to play. But some of the wild carders also have their second free hit left. So a lot to happen, not too much to go for the season, but a lot of chips left, a lot of planning still left, right? So what do you think about the 34 fixtures and kind of beyond? What are you thinking for the next few weeks?
I think you will. You described it pretty well. It was very like on a spot. So one thing I felt like the wildcarders, they will be in a good shape. That's because their bench will be. I mean, if you have wildcard as well as bench boost, those people actually at least their bench will be not very thin like the people who doesn't have bench boost. Now, as you can see, right in 34, we might see some rotation, especially
Hmm.
like Liverpool, right? Liverpool, I can see there will be some rotation there, like Trent or Robertson. For City right now, people don't have City right now, especially who doesn't have wild card, right? So
Hmm.
which is probably okay. But I can see against the Watford, some player might be rotated, like Ford, and he has been playing like a lot.
Every game, pretty much, yeah.
Right, and Mahrez, he's gonna be definitely, like as Luke mentioned, right, that Mahrez is gonna be always start in the UCL.
UCL.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so he's not gonna be there. So those are the two things I felt. First of all, that make sure your bench, is covered well, at least, one to two players, so that, I mean, if there is any, like, rotation, at
Hmm.
least is covered. Now for Chelsea, as you mentioned, right? I feel like Chelsea, like, assets, their fixtures are good, but there looks like a kind of short term, like, looks like to me,
Hmm.
because I mean, they are gonna have only, like, one tournament to play for, which is FA Cup, as you mentioned, right?
Yep.
So in 36, although they are doubling, but it's not very appealing, right? So a lot of people might think to do free hit in 36 to get rid of Chelsea, if you get, like, loaded with triple up in 34, because they have double in 34 and also 36. A lot
Hmm.
of people might, like, kind of get rid of Chelsea assets and get probably City. If City double in 36, we'll see tomorrow.
Yep.
So those are the, again, these are top three, and I think those are the three appealing, and also there are some cons there as well, right, in terms of fixture, but that just stand out to me. There are two
Yep.
other teams as well, Spurs and Arsenal. They are fighting for top four. They have urgency, as I told you before as well, right? This
Hmm.
two team, I mean, and also the good side is, in 35, both Leicester City and West Ham, they are actually kind of, squashed between the two of their
Europe games. Yep.
Europe games, and both Man City, sorry, Spurs and Arsenal, like Man City is, sorry, Spurs is facing Leicester City, and Arsenal is facing West Ham,
Hmm.
which is really good. Like, I mean, if I mean, yeah, people are probably thinking to get rid of some of the players like Kulusevski, Saka, Martinelli, right, or Barnes, even, to get, like, to find out, or
Hmm.
to open some space for Chelsea, mid, or, like, forward. But people need to think about that as well. Like Barnes, probably, like, out of this, we discussed, I mean, before, in other places too, right? That
Yep.
these are the four options, three or four options, like Saka, Kulusevski, Martinelli, and Barnes. And I mean, among these four, probably Barnes is the first to go, right? And then probably Kulusevski, and Saka. I mean, he's on penalty as well, and Arsenal, he's a talisman, right? So I don't know. It's very
Hmm.
difficult to kind of get it. So yeah, those are the couple of the things. I think, again, top teams will get priority here, and this is the fixture, like, people will be thinking about top teams. This 34 to 36 at least.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, one thing that I was also wanted to mention is the Europe games are important for Leicester and West Ham, is because this is literally the first time they are in a European semifinal, both the clubs, and they neither of them have a lot to play in the league for. I think West Ham have a kind of a distant chance for maybe a top four potentially, but again, they will be tired. Their squad is not that big either, kind of a thin squad. So either they will be tired or they will be rotated heavily. And Leicester has a decent sized squad. And as we saw last week, also, they kind of get rotated pretty heavily, right? Sometimes. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, Leicester very likely would be heavily prioritizing the Europe semi-final in comparison to how much effort they put in the league, right? So again, I mean, if they play the regular squad, they're going to be super, super tired after all the travel and everything, or they're going to be heavily rotated. So, as you mentioned, Tottenham and Arsenal, uh, pretty good fixtures for them in 35, and they will go all in, right? Because they still, both of them have a decent chance for a top four in the league. So, as I mean, the gurus in APL Twitter keep mentioning, right? The league state is very important, especially at this time of the season. Whether you have a chance at winning the league, whether you have you still are in Europe, whether you can get a top four, or whether you are fighting for relegation, right? Everything is important at this time of the season. But yeah, very, very, very exciting time. I can see a lot of swing happening also in the next few weeks, 34 to 30, a lot of decisions to make, right? So yeah, good discussion on the fixtures. Let's move on to the short term. So basically game week 34 fixtures. So let's quickly talk about the fixtures. I will try to keep it as short as possible. And again, this is our EXG model prediction, what the game results are supposed to be. Arsenal, Manu, what do you think of that
Yeah,
game?
I think 2-1 is a, Arsenal is playing in home, and in home they are good,
Mhm.
and Man United's defense we know that
Horrible.
is
Hmm.
is horrible. So I think it Ronaldo probably will play.
Hmm.
He was seen in the training.
Hmm.
So I think he could be the only person who could, like, show some magic if there is something. But I see Arsenal is winning here, and I mean 2-1 that model is predicting. I think it's very reasonable. So
Yeah,
I see
realistic.
Arsenal winning here.
Yep. Leicester, Aston Villa, of course, neither of us have any Leicester assets, but a lot of people may have Schmeichel or Madison or Barnes either carried over from 34, or even people who are wildcarding this week may not have a lot of Leicester assets, but especially people who are kind of use their free transfers in 34 and carrying it over to 35 may have some assets. Um, Again, could be a very close game, Leicester Aston Villa. Not really much to talk about that game particularly. Man City Watford. I know you were talking about it that this can be kind of a big game for Man City. You want to predict the result? I know you were saying that it could easily be a 5
No, I
nil,
mean,
6
I
nil.
think, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, Man City, uh, definitely, I think, is gonna win, and we see a clean sheet here as well. But as we were discussing, right, that it could happen, like, the goal difference might decide the title,
Hmm.
right? And Man City is now, I mean, as of now, they're behind from Chelsea in terms of goal difference. So they will try
Right.
to match this up in the upcoming games, like Watford, like Leeds game next, and
Hmm.
they also have Newcastle game, right? Those are good fixture. I mean, actually, fixture wise, Man City has better fixture than Liverpool, right?
Right.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, if they win all of the games, is golden, and that's very high likely, right? But in
Hmm.
case they drop one of them, then definitely goal difference will be a very huge thing. So I see here, like, I mean, it could be 4 or 5, but I mean they will have clean sheet regardless. That's my view here. So
Yeah. Yeah. So as we were discussing before as well, right? So the Madrid game is like 2 days after this. So of course, this is kind of difficult to predict who are the players going to play. So if, especially if you are using your free transfers, very hard to nail, right? Like who are the attackers you want to pick. So Sterling, of course, has a bigger chance to play because he did not start in the last game. So he is probably the most likely player to start, and probably KDB, maybe Bernardo Silva. But otherwise, it's very hard to nail, right? Who do you take as an attacker? You know that there are goals in this game, but at the same time, it's very hard to kind of nail the attacking player that you want to own for games like this, right? So that's the dilemma essentially. All right. So next game is Norwich Newcastle
one
again.
thing I just want to add here, like, because of this Man City's fixture, and
Mhm.
as you kind of find out or kind of talk, right, that Starling might be nailed because first of all he didn't play in the last game, and in the UCL Mahrez is playing and Foden is playing, right? So Starling is not probably starting there too, so he's going to start here, and because of that, a lot of people are even thinking to do free hit here in 34, and
Mhm.
that there is a talk here as well, and there is upside actually, like if you can find out like good three city, Chelsea, right, and Liverpool, all of their fixtures are good, so you can actually have upside here. So just wanted
Yeah,
to.
but the same thing happened in 27 also, right? Where we free hit it. Both of us did free hit in 27, and
Yeah,
Mars didn't even start, right? He was very likely to start given the fixtures are in and around, but he
true.
didn't start. So that's, I mean, Pep thing. So who knows that he thinks that maybe Starling is a better player against Real Madrid, right? He's kind of a fixture type coach manager, right? So yeah, it at a high level, it looks like that Sterling could start. Who knows? Easily
Yeah,
can
I
start on the
agree.
bench, right?
I
So
agree.
very hard to predict,
I agree.
um,
Oh yeah,
especially given the time between the fixtures as well.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's move on. Yeah.
All right. So next one is Norwich Newcastle. Again, there is some fantasy appeal, of course, for this game because some people are carrying Dubravka or Shar, or if some people got in target, etc., etc. Most of those players came in free hit, so most likely people are not carrying a whole lot of them. But for example, I am carrying both Dubravka and Shar, and I'm planning to play both of them as of now. And if someone has Pookie, he is also probably a play against Newcastle at home, and against Norwich is fighting for their lives, right? so they cannot afford to lose any game essentially. So if they want to stay up, there is mathematically still a chance that they can stay up. So they absolutely will have to go for it, right, for 100%. Could be a very close game. Newcastle has done decently defensively, especially recently. Um, but yeah, could easily be a 1-1 type of game. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not very interested in this game, but I understand. Yeah, I mean, if you have like Shar, or even a lot of people might have Wood, I
Hmm.
think
Yeah,
you
they're all kind of play hold and play essentially,
yeah
right?
you
So
play them.
yeah. Okay, next game is Brentford Spurs. So this is interesting. The model is predicting kind of a 1-1 kind of result, and we have seen this in these seasons before. Brentford kind of pulls up these results against the big teams, especially at home, right? It's a very possible. And also Spurs kind of stumbled against Brighton in last game, like in game week 33. It might just be an anomaly, or it might just be kind of a start of a decline also, right? Potentially. But I do see that this happening, right? Brentford at home easily can hold Spurs to a 1-1 draw. Nothing unlikely. What do you think?
Yeah,
You
I
still have
agree.
Kane, right?
Yeah, but I agree. It can end up 1-1. Brentford actually plays better against the big team,
Bigger teams, yeah.
and they're also in home. And Ericsson completely changed everything, right? They have
Mhm.
been very good in last few weeks. So I see here, yeah. I mean, the model is predicting one. I mean, draw, and I see that it can happen very much. So
Okay. Next, Brighton Southampton. I don't think we have any interest in this game at all. Let's
yeah,
skip
you can
this.
directly go to Chelsea West Ham actually. So
Yeah, Burnley Wolves not not interest there anymore. I have Weghorst, but I'm planning to get rid of him, so not any interest whatsoever. Chelsea West Ham. So of course this is the first game of the double game week for Chelsea against West Ham, and as we spoke about, West Ham looks kind of tired recently, especially last few game weeks. They have looked tired. They kind of look. I don't want to say lethargic, but they kind of doesn't look as good as they were looking earlier in the season, right? And of course, Chelsea will be kind of uh, carrying over from that game with 33 loss against Arsenal, right? We also saw when they lost against Brentford how they came back against Real Madrid and Southampton. So I can see that happening again. And again, Chelsea third or fourth place is not guaranteed, 100% guaranteed yet. So they have to go for a win this game, right? And I see them going with a full strength squad, 100% with a full strength squad in this game against West Ham. What do you think from a result perspective?
yeah, I think Chelsea want to finish this off actually before 36. I think
Hmm.
So yeah, and also West Ham will be tired, but again, I see that Chelsea is conceding here. I mean, they will
Hmm.
win probably, but because Rudiger is not there, I think I see them they're gonna concede,
Yeah,
and
Rudiger is not there. Kovacic is not there either.
exactly
So their
right.
main
So
central midfielder.
and
Yeah.
Kante's form was not really up to the mark recently too, right?
Hmm.
And it will depend. Like again, Tuchel has been kind of changing the formation very recently, right? And we'll see how it goes. But I think Chelsea is gonna win, but they're gonna concede. So
Yeah, I think it's a good game for Chelsea from an attacking perspective, especially given that, as we were saying before, also West Ham only has one fit center back, right? So they are also not in a very good shape from a squad standpoint. So if you want to target Chelsea for the double game week, it's better to target double game week from an attacking perspective, more from attackers, if you can, of course. It depends on the team structure and a lot of other things. But yeah, I do see kind of a double attack over double defense kind of thing more popular, at least for this double game week. Um, okay, next is the Liverpool Everton. Again, as we spoke about, Liverpool's next few games are going to be very tight. 4 games in 9 days. Uh, I probably see them starting with full strength in this game, but their minutes will be managed. Someone like Robertson might even start from bench, something like that, right? Um, but yeah, like people like Salah or Mane, if they already have a 2 goal lead by 60th minute, they can easily be hooked. All right, early kind of. So that's what I see in this game, but should be a easy peasy win for Liverpool. What do you think?
yeah, Definitely, it's gonna be easy win. I think Jota is gonna play. I feel that
Hmm.
Jota is gonna play. Diaz is gonna be probably rested for the UCL game. I'm not sure about Robo and Trent really. I feel one of them will be benched. That's kind of
Hmm.
I'm feeling. And Simikas is well, I mean he's a good player too, and he can cover pretty much. So we'll see how it goes. So either, I mean, Liverpool will actually want to have a decisive decision by first leg, I think, against
Hmm.
Villarreal. If there is anything not decisive, then we'll see actually rotation in 35 as well, right? So that's the problem. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
Yeah, as you mentioned before, right? It's probably at least for 34, 35. It's important to have at least some bench, not
yeah,
like you cannot probably have to have completely thin bench, like no non all non players or things like that. Especially to cover the Liverpool guys, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it's at least have some people, some players on the bench that can at least come on and play. Because again, I mean, if Robertson does not start, it's very unlikely that he will come on at all, right?
Yeah.
Or for same thing for Trent and so on. So
But yeah, I think regardless whoever plays, I think they're gonna win, and three
right,
will
yeah,
is
yeah. I
pretty
mean,
good.
for Liverpool players, it's like if you have them, you just start them and hope they play, right? So you cannot necessarily get rid of them either. You don't want to. All right. So next one is Crystal Palace Leeds. Again, not a whole lot of fantasy interest at this point. If someone has is still holding on to Rafinha, play him. Mateta was kind of a interesting thing, right? He kind of got did not start in the last game. Edward did, and they lost against Newcastle. So I don't know what's going to happen. But if someone already got in Mateta, you just play him and hope that he starts. Essentially, nothing much of else interest on that game. And then the last game, again the double game essentially, Manchester United and Chelsea. There's the double for both teams. The model is predicting kind of a 1-1 or kind of a draw, closely fought game, and I can see that happening again, given that how close Chelsea's games are on Sunday and Thursday, kind of the 3 day gap, and Man United also kind of fighting uh, with, I mean, struggling with their defense and everything. But Chelsea, they're decent at home at least, better defensively as a unit at home than they're at away. So yeah, it definitely can be a 1-1. I see that happening at least, or could be something like a 2-2 also, right? Both defenses are kind of suffering, struggling. What do you think about this game?
I don't know. In this game, for some reason, I'm not very confident about Man United. I feel like it's gonna be like 0-2 or something like that.
You see Chelsea winning,
Yeah, I see Chelsea winning here, and I see that
keeping a
Man
clean sheet.
United struggle, scoring here. But they've been always struggling, and I see that it's happening too. So at
Hmm.
best 1-2 maybe. I see Chelsea's winning.
Yep.
So I don't have any confidence about Man United right now, to be honest. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to be confident, especially after the Liverpool game, right? They completely looked in
I
disarray
have no
with
idea what was that. I mean, but anyways,
what was the team even, right? Just looking at the team sheet, we were saying like, what is this team? But anyways, we'll see. Uh, all right. So just kind of before we move on to our teams, we wanted to talk about the Chelsea upcoming fixtures. We already kind of covered it. Just to give a perspective, because that's where people are looking at this week at least, right? For transferees, Chelsea attackers or Chelsea defenders. So it does look like as a whole, at least 4 out of the 7 fixtures that are left are both good offensively and defensively from a fixture standpoint. One of the games is this week, of course, the West Ham game, and the Manchester United game is kind of on the bad range, or at least on this plot. But as you said, given the current status of our current squad depth of Manchester United, it can easily be a very good fixture for Chelsea also. So overall, fixture wise, as we were saying before too, is the right, it would have been the right time to target the Chelsea players if they did not have the FA Cup final, especially in 36, right? Otherwise, they would have been golden, right? You just triple up on Chelsea and they would be hold for the rest of the season, essentially. But the reason for that particular reason that they have the FA Cup final just 2 days after the Leeds game in game of 36, so that's what's kind of bothering everyone to kind of really uh, do we go full on with Chelsea like triple up, or is like one or two players good enough for this week. So what are you thinking? Of course, we'll talk about our own teams, but do you think
Uh,
that triple up is must for Chelsea?
I mean, it's a double game weekend. I mean, this is the time actually. If you want to have Chelsea, as it's said, like it's kind of short-term thing. I
Hmm.
mean, although this plot, right, all of this right-hand side, I think five teams, except what West Ham, all of these are actually after 36 and like from 36. And in 36, as we discussed, right, it's not gonna be like it's Leeds and Wolves. Both games are good, but I mean, I we see rotation here, right? So there is no way we keep them, right? I guess because you cannot predict who are going to play. Last game is Watford at home, 38. I don't know at that moment already Chelsea is gonna probably done with fourth place in FA Cup, so third place in FA Cup. So I don't know who is gonna play. So
Hmm.
we are kind of unlucky, I would say, in terms of like fixture for Chelsea is because the way it's like it came along that they don't have anything to play at that time, but they have good fixture, but we don't know whom to play, right?
Right.
So it is what it is. So I think this is the time people are going to triple up, and probably they're going to get rid of them quickly as well by 36. That's what I see.
Yeah, I agree. You just target the double game week and you see what comes in 35 and 36. You either get rid of them. Again, it kind of depends on the pressers. Keep looking out for the press conferences and see what comes out. But at least for this game week, you just go all in, right? Whether you want to go for two defenders or two attackers or whatever you want to triple up with, you just fully attack. Um, but yeah, not much to talk about this elsewhere. So we have few questions actually. So before we move on to our teams, let's try to answer them. So Abid is asking, do you think I should get a city midfielder or should I retain Barnes for 34? I would say, I mean, if you want to go to a city midfielder, and this next question is also kind of connected. If you absolutely want to go for a city midfielder this week, it has to be Sterling or KDB, right? I don't think anyone else is nearly as nailed to start, at least in 34, right? As we were discussing, both Foden and Mahrez are more priorities for Pep to be played in UCL, which is like literally like 2 days after this game. So very unlikely that either Foden or Mahrez will start. That's actually exactly the next question from Denver. Is morning punt of the week is Mahrez or Foden, right? I don't think either of them are, unfortunately, because of the tie with Real Madrid just in 2 days after this, right? And again, this is not just we talking about it. FF scout Luke, who is kind of he's not quite an ITK in the know for Man City, but his predictions are generally very good for the squads. So he mentioned that both Mahrez and Foden will be very highly likely to start against Madrid, right? So there is a chance that both of them get benched, or at least one of them gets benched in 34. So yeah, I would not go there either. What do you think, Franker?
Yeah, I think if you want to like this week would be Chelsea week. I mean, at that price range, I
Hmm.
think if you can get for Kai Havertz or Mount, you go for them instead of having this punt because Mahrez he's gonna start in UCL at least as Luke
Yeah.
mentioned, so he's gonna be fully rested. And Foden he has been playing all the games almost, which
Hmm.
is good. But I see that like it's against Madrid, right? And the game is on Tuesday, right? So I see that these people are gonna get rest here. At least that's my because they have a good bench too, right? Grealish is there, right? Starling is there,
Hmm.
so they can easily play here, right? So I would not go there if you can afford Chelsea. I'd really, I mean, uh, suggest to go in that way.
Right. And our FPL USA friend Derek says hi. Hello,
Hey,
Derek.
Derek.
Uh, all right, so let's move on to our teams. So we're already at half an hour. We wanted to finish by half an hour, but that's okay. Um, so this is my team for 34. As of now, I have not made any transfers yet. It's still holding on. So currently the team reads like this: Dubravka at goal, Cancelo, Telles, Trent, Schur, James currently captain, Salah, Saka, Sancho, Weghorst, and Ronaldo. So my transfer thoughts as of now is Sancho and Weghorst, two Havertz and Werner, Timo. Although Sancho has a double, but I'm heavily considering getting rid of him, not just because he failed in the last few game weeks or anything. It's not quite reactionary. I'm not getting rid of him because he failed. It's more because where I have more upside, right? Because he's kind of a cash cow for me as well, 8.9 million. So I can get a lot of cash out of him if I move from him to Havertz or Mount for what it matters, and then use the fund elsewhere, right? I still have 1.5 million in the bank too, so it's an easy move for me to go from Weghorst to Werner as well. Werner's recent stats are very, very good, right? He has been very decent, and I think both of them start both the games in 34 as well. Again, it's hard to tell, of course, with the squad depth of Chelsea, but I think both of them should start in 34. And I'm kind of going for the upside. I could go for Mount also, but I just think that as in FPL Wire, they were also talking about it. If you are thinking of captaining someone who can score a brace, you would rather punt on a Havertz than Mount, right? So that's basically the upside that I'm trying to kind of target. So yeah, I would say 99% set on the transfers, unless something else that I hear in the pressers tomorrow. I'm very likely to go forward with these transfers, and of course beyond 34, as we were discussing before as well, it will become a little more difficult for me to kind of navigate the transfers. But I still kind of have a plan laid out where I go from Ronaldo to Kane in 35. I will have to take another -4 hit there to just get the funds out of my team. Um, but yeah, and 36, of course, we'll have to give it a thought once we get there whether I want to free hit or not. I will free hit either in 36 or 37, right? Given the status of my team. So since I will be tripled up on Chelsea, as you suggested earlier this week, Wrangler, there is a very good likelihood of playing free hit in 36 just to get rid of the Chelsea players, triple up on Man City, etc., or the other teams that are doubling. So that's a possibility. But yeah, that's where my thoughts are. Anyways, 36 is not even here yet. So, but yeah, at least for 34, I'm pretty well set on my transfers to the two Chelsea boys. Any suggestion?
No, I think, I mean, we talked about it a lot, right? And I think either you take Harvard or Mount, it's 50-50 right now. The Harvard is more enticing now because he was rested in the previous
Mhm.
game, right? So for short term, if you want to go for short term, Harvard is pretty good, right? And Lukaku was not really impressive. So and he has more upside too, right? Mount, by the way, is on penalty. I mean, there is some discussion going on who is on penalties. There will be two games, right? So Mount get a better edge there, but again, since Havertz was rested,
Yeah, I
he
think that's still confusing though, right? I think someone on APL Twitter said it's actually Havertz ahead of Mount. But both the Wire and Black Box thought that Mount is ahead of Havertz. So, but anyways, if Jorginho is on the field, neither of
yeah,
them is on penalty, anyways. But
yeah.
yeah, anyway, so yeah.
And Timo Werner is definitely a very good pick, by the way. I mean, if you can afford him with keeping, I mean, you're keeping Ronaldo still.
Mhm,
I would definitely go for him. He has been really good. I mean, yeah, he cannot convert a lot of them, but again, he can create a lot of chances, by the way, so which is really good.
mhm.
I have a few questions here. So, is your captain is gonna be Kai if you bring Kai Havertz?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So no Ronaldo, I can see that. You're gonna play Shar over Martinelli and Dubravka over Ramsdale.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look out for the pressers tomorrow. So yeah, definitely Dubravka over Ramsdale. That's happening for sure.
Why
Um,
is that? I mean, you expect Norwich is not gonna be able to.
yeah, I think at this point of time, I just rely more on the Newcastle defense than the Arsenal defense without Partey and without uh, Tierney, right? So yeah, I think I just rely a little more on the Newcastle defense against Norwich also, right? So I just have to take the chance. I don't think there is a whole lot delta there, anyways. But yeah, I think I'll just roll the dice with Dubravka. As for Shar and Martinelli, of course, the upside would be higher with Martinelli if he starts. So yeah, I'll probably talk to the our Arsenal buddies a little more tomorrow what they think if If Martinelli starts, I think I'll start him over sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is good. I mean, and also I see that, like, Werner can be replaced later if you want to Richarlison or DCL. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that is in kind of in my thoughts. If either again, given when I free hit, whether in 36 or 37, it might change. I can go to a Watkins or a Richarlison, given which game I
Yeah,
free hit
this
in.
is good.
But yeah, that should be a easy swap there. Okay, so that's my team. Let's go to your team.
Yeah, so my team, so basically I have Ramsdale, I have Robbo, who has rotation list as we discussed. I have Trent, Cancelo. James has been disappointing, but it's still, like, I hope if he plays in the right wing back, he should get something, because even in the last 30 minutes that he played against Arsenal, he showed promises. So I'm not very
Mhm,
worried about it. I have Saka, Kulusevski, Salah, Martinelli, Ramses, I mean, in the top 11, and Kane as of now. I'm actually thinking to play Ramsdale over Dubravka. That's I'm
mhm,
thinking, because he's gonna get saves. That's what I can see here. But again, I might change, Dubravka as well. But as you said, right, that the defense, Arsenal defense is kind of shaky now, and while Newcastle's defense is better now. So actually, Dubravka is a good shout. But again, Delta will not be very, like, very, very high there. So that's okay.
mhm.
My transfer plan, I can directly do Martinelli to Mount. So that's gonna be without a hit. But my another plan was also to get rid of Doherty, because he's on my, like, team for a while, and his price already dropped twice,
Mhm.
but I couldn't get rid of him. So I was thinking to get rid of Doherty and Kulusevski and get Alonso, and then I can afford either Mount or Kai. I will decide about it later. So that's gonna come with a hit. Again, Alonso, we don't know if he's gonna start in 2 games or not, but I see an upside there, and this actually makes a good, like, structure wise, it makes well for me as well for 36. Like, I mean, it's gonna be flexible for me. I mean, either I do
Right.
free hit or not. I can do, like, say, Kai or Mount to, like, Ford in 36, and Alonso to Laporte, right? So
Mhm.
that gives me the flexibility. While Martinez to Mount, I don't have this flexibility to get CT asset. I get bound to do free hit, in 36 mostly, which I
Right.
don't want. So yeah, that's my thought. Although Kulusevski against Leicester on 35, I'll be nervous about it, but I'm assuming he's gonna be less owned as well, because while in wildcard, I don't see he's coming. Who are wildcard in 35, so I'm not very worried about. I hope Martinelli actually would be nailed and he would start, because the fixture run for Arsenal is really good and they're playing for something, and he would be really good, especially in
Mhm.
36, like Leeds and Spurs. So I wish he starts, and I will just, roll the dice with him. We'll see how it goes. So that's my plan. What do you think?
Yeah, no, looks good. I think as we were saying, the second move kind of gives you a little more flexibility, although it comes with a -4. Um, but yeah, it gives you a little more flexibility for the upcoming weeks, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I would go with the second route rather than going directly from Martinelli to Mount, even if it comes with a -4. Alonso, as we were talking about, I'm still kind of a little iffy about him. I think he will play at least one of the games for sure. Will start one of the games for sure. Um, but yeah, as the Wire boys were also talking about it, so his defensive performance, as always, is not the best. So if one Tuchel wants to move him on to someone else, like a Pulisic or Saul, or even play James in the left wing back potentially, which is a likelihood. Um, that's the only iffiness I think I have about Alonso. But if he does start, I absolutely agree that he probably has the biggest upside of any Chelsea players, honestly, more than anyone else. It's a very good shout. Just that minute risk is what kind of makes me a little iffy about him.
I could do Laporte until tonight. Price rise of Mount. I
Mhm.
could actually do Laporte and Mount, but again, Mount's price placed. I mean,
Sure.
price. So
Point one.
yeah, so I'll
Short.
be point one short. I could get -8 to make that happen. So I'll probably go with Alonso. Now I don't have any other option, I guess. So
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And
That's
you're in 35, you plan to move on from Mount or Havers to a city midfielder. Is that your plan?
if I find out that like Luke's post or somewhere that I see that they're starting, like Foden is starting, I'll probably go with Foden because it's gonna be against Leeds. The
Hmm.
in the reverse fixture they had 7-0, so I will probably go with that. If I go with Kai, I will definitely go with that because as Zoff mentioned, right, that against Everton, who knows again, Lukaku might show up. So if
Hmm.
I go with Kai, I will move from
Yeah, and
Kai.
again, it will all depend on the results of these next few
Yeah,
fixtures, also, right?
that
The
is
league fixtures and also the Europe fixtures, like
yeah.
how City does against Madrid in the first leg. If they are well ahead, say by 2-3 goals, uh, then
Unlikely,
pretty much,
but
yeah, everyone will probably play in the league game. But if they're close, like a 0-0 draw or like a 1-1 draw, then who knows? Foden Mahrez might get
yeah,
again benched in the league game. So just look out for the results. Again,
yeah, yeah,
the
definitely.
league state and the team state, everything will matter.
Yeah.
So Derek is asking before we are almost done with our video. Is do you all prefer captaining either Havertz or Mount over Salah? You want to take that, Wrangler? I know I'm a little biased as a Chelsea
Yeah, I
supporter.
think I mean I will go with the double game week. Especially if I go with Kai Havertz, I will definitely go with Kai Havertz because I think he's going to start both of the games. He has upside. And Salah, the problem as we mentioned, right, that Salah might be even subbed off by 60 or 65 minutes, right?
Hmm.
So you can like decide that 60 by 65 minutes and another player 180 minutes, right? Hopefully, like uh,
Yeah,
if at least 120 to 130 minutes for other guy. So that's where I will actually give more weightage for the Chelsea boys than Salah. But just, I
mm,
mean, if the UCL game would not be there, then I would have thought differently. But since UCL
yeah,
game is there, that's kind of I'm feeling that Chelsea boys will be over Salah just
yeah.
because Salah could be subbed off very quick.
Yeah, I think I absolutely agree. And again from a neutral standpoint too, if I think of just EV, right? It's unlike game week 9, you are getting two times Havertz's minutes, right? So it's not like game week 9 where we say like I captain Kai and I failed, right? As from a captain system point, and Salah scored like a 24 pointer against Manchester United. And that can happen against Everton too easily, right? But
Mhm.
you, at least your EV delta from a realistic standpoint is not as high as it was in game week 9, right? So you get, as you said, right, 180 minutes of Havertz versus potentially 60 minutes of Salah. So that delta of EV also reduces. So I think, yeah, at least I would definitely take a chance on Kai this time for this game.
Yeah, it will
All right.
again depend, like say if I mean Liverpool could not score against
Yeah.
Everton in the first half, then it's going to be completely different. But we are expecting
Mhm.
that Liverpool at least be ahead
True,
at least
true,
one or two
true.
goal by first half. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, as we showed in the EXG model also, right? Liverpool are expected to score 3 goals against Everton, right?
Mhm.
And if whenever they score goals, Salah is highly likely to be involved. So he will score points. It's just that you take the chance on a double game weeker who can outscore Salah, right? Even if he scores, say, like a 9-10 pointer. But yeah, so thank you all for asking the questions, Abhi, Denver, and Derek. That's pretty much it for us for today's video. Anything else before we leave?
no, I think
Wrangler?
let's wrap it up.
All right. All right. Thank you for everyone for listening to us. Thank you, Wrangler, for being here with me. Good luck with the transfers tomorrow. The deadline is on Saturday morning. The first game is Arsenal's. I think Arsenal, Manchester United, if I'm not wrong. Early morning transfer again for us, right? So we'll see. But yeah, best of luck for everyone. See you after game week 34 before game week 35. Thank you.